United. I guess we should check to see if it's broadcasting on YouTube. YouTube. Anvil United. Let me just have my moment here. Make sure everything is copacetic. All right, we're gonna do this. Stop fucking looking at the cloud, please. Thank you very much. We got some topics to talk about, but I want to make sure before we start talking that this is actually doing something. Shut up. Do I go to home? Yeah. We got some topics to talk about, but I want to. Yep, it's working. Mute it. Here we go. So I hope you like my new name. Welcome to the what do you call it? The hump day. That's going to change too, by the way. That's definitely going to change. We're going to have just gaming only on Saturdays and something completely different on today, these days. So either way, we are good. I had to do like a little testing because you just never know. You just never know. We have a couple of topics to talk about here though. And I want to make this shit short and sweet. Short and sweet. Because I got things to do and I have to go to the dentist. And I'm just not with it. I better drink this coffee though. Gotta drink this coffee. So if you don't know, welcome to the hump day. Hump day. Hoping everything is good for you guys. Welcome. And we typically talk about off-topic subjects. Story time. You know what I'm saying? Story time. And then we go to the game news, which was pretty fucking dry. Let's be clear here. Real dry. And we had to just kind of pull news out of our fucking ass to make this shit work. So let's begin here. First and foremost, this video or this space is being recorded and directly recorded to YouTube. So if you don't want your voice shared, that's your disclosure. You should already know that this is public forums, so you're going to be recorded. And I'm actually pretty fucking glad that I don't got too much shit going on. I'm glad about that shit because that means that I could go through and just talk about what I need to talk about without interruptions. I'm sorry. I should be grateful for people that likes to come in and talk. But first and foremost, let's talk about our story time for the day. Story time. You know what I noticed? This is completely off topic when it comes to gaming, right? I noticed something very, very interesting when it comes to being noticed in general. You guys ever notice that if you literally try to be noticed, no one wants to notice you? Everyone avoids you like the bionic player. You ever notice that shit? Is that ever happened to you? Or let's say if you wanted to kind of like hit up a chick and you thought about so strongly how to actually, talk to her, you bring up all of this extra shit. You know what I'm saying? You really want her to notice you, and it is rejected like a foreign body in your bloodstream. So I don't know if this is like the law of attraction or whatever the fuck it is, but I do know this though. Everyone needs to stop trying to be noticed. You know what I'm saying? Because that type of attention that you would get when you're noticed isn't the right attention. That shit will get you in super trouble. That's the trouble that you get into and you can't get out of, or it ruins careers and it ruins reputations. That's you never want to do that. But if you really peep game, right? If you just mind your own business, right? But just mind it enough to where you kind of look around in your surroundings, you'll notice that you minding your business actually attracts people. People will start looking at you if you mind your own business. It's the craziest thing. What's going on, Adam? It's the craziest thing, though. When you mind your own business, then people want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you're up to. They want to know. They want to know. They want to know. It's fucking crazy. It's always been an interesting thing where it's been a tug of war for me. Trying to kind of like not draw attention to myself, or trying not to try. You know what I mean? And just, notice that if you do you and you focus on your plan, then everything just kind of, I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know if it's just everybody is in unison, but if you focus on your plan, everything falls into place. People will stop. I mean, you if you're looking for kind of attention, even at work, and you just do your own shit, just people will start noticing you. I just today, which was pretty crazy. Um, I'm just doing my own thing, and then someone hits me up, and I'm kind of like apprehensive about her hitting me up. She was one of the managers there. She's like, "Hey, we need you to do a meeting, participate in a meeting," and I'm like, oh "My God, what the fuck? What is this? This could be very, very big for me. This could start something that completely takes me on a totally different trajectory in my career and lend me some more money because I'm making a big move. I've been kind of focusing on where I want to go, and I wanted to kind of move out of the place that I'm at and be done with it. Totally, totally done. So this could be a way to accelerate it, especially with the industry being as poopy as it is now, with everything being just garbage, right? So my whole thing is this. This is my story time. Don't try so hard to be noticed, whether it's be a girl or at work. Just do you. Focus anything that you do, you focus on you and better yourself. And just shit tends to fall in place. It's the weirdest fucking thing. Like the harder you try to get noticed, the less you are noticed. It's just the weirdest thing, honestly. But we're gonna go directly into the two topics. First one being God of War Ragnarok. They finally did it. They finally gave us a release date, which is November 9th of 2022, which I believe that the game is probably done. The curious thing, and I don't know if it's because of the history of God of War and that they don't need to show anything, or something's wrong and they can't show it's not ready yet. I always kind of was considering that, but they showed the collector's edition. That doesn't really mean anything because you also had um, Bethesda and Fallout. They had like all this other shit, and the game was clearly not done. And then you had situations like that. So I don't think Sony would do it, but there's always a first time for everything. Corey said it's really big. Corey Barlog, the previous producer for the original game, the original 2018 game, he says it's done and it's going to be big and it's going to be great. You can't listen to Alana Pierce because she's an attention whore. So there's that. I don't think you should ever take whatever she says at any kind of face value. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't recommend that. But it is something to take notice. I find it very interesting that they could have chosen November 11th, which is the Starfield date. That would be so fucking petty, wouldn't it? That would be super fucking petty. And I guess it would be a bad look as a corporation, especially when you have these people, these moral busybodies that are so like, oh my God, I don't want to start any trouble. I don't want to do all this. That's this, the sensitive people. But that would have been funny if Sony really did pick the fucking Starfield date. That would be so fucking awful. That would be so egregious. But they didn't do that. They chose the high ground and decided to play fair, right? So there's that. Uh, my thoughts on the actual video, CGI performance, which is like, why would you do that? Why is it? What, you got a state of play coming? Is there a state of play coming? What's good with you, Sony? Are you gonna do it? You gonna do it for real? A state of play? Or are you gonna just give us this, just collector's edition for us to just keep buying shit that we don't know? Oh, you did come up with Forbidden West, and that shit, it's fucking fire. So I give you that, but don't do that again. People. You're the bigger man. You're the mature one. You have the responsibility. The fucking industry is in your hands. You got to set a precedent. Unfortunately, that's how it is when people are masters of their craft. You can't just be doing anything you want to do. You just can't. You can't. You can't. But I am still worried, though. I am worried about God of War, and it's a concern. Trolling, you know what I mean? It's very curious to see what is going on with this game. I don't know what they're planning on doing with this game. That's one of the things that's just kind of curious. I feel like this game is much larger. This game has to be much larger than what is known. It has to be much larger. And I mean like open world, like larger. I think like several months ago I mentioned about the new God of War that make a big impact because everyone was saying that they were reusing cycles. What's going on East? Animation cycles and shit like that. I do feel like they need to do something really big other than the story, or else they're going to fall victim to, people saying that it's more of the same and the same thing like the older God of Wars. The funny thing is, people were saying that for Horizon Forbidden West, and it's like, what the fuck you want her to do? You want her to fly planes? It's what's the game is very different from the first one, but people still say that Horizon Forbidden West is the same game as the first one, which is completely ludicrous. Ludicrous. I don't know. I don't know how to really feel about the situation. I will say this. So I feel like it's probably a lot bigger than what we suspect it to be. Even if it's like, I don't know if you ever played Metro Exodus. It was kind of like a big ass like hub area. You know what I'm saying? Um, the thing is, it would have to be like open world like because like you have to have most of the level loaded. You know what I'm saying? Because the SSD doesn't translate over to the PS4 unless unless they're doing some Ghost of Tsushima shit, which I don't think so. Those levels are pretty. Let me get East in here. My bad. Those levels are pretty handcrafted and shit like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how it's going to go. I'm really am curious about God of War, just out of morbid curiosity. Truthfully, I really am. I don't know what they're going to do. What are your thoughts, East? What do you think the new God of War is going to be like?
First of all, what's going on?
What's going on, Brosi?
I hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Hopefully you are too. My manager kept
Yes,
me
sir. I'm
longer than.
healthy. I'm alive. I can pay my bills.
That's all that
I
matters.
can have a warm bed, food, water. I'm good. Anyway, so about this
Are
God of
you
War
in? Are you in a?
situation.
Are you in the U.S.?
Yeah, right now.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, about this God of War situation, people are actually insane calling Horizon the same as the first one and the God of War the same. Like, first of all, do you not want God of War? Like, I thought we all wanted more of that game, right? So if we're getting hypothetically, if it was a DLC, we'd want more of it anyway, right? So I don't understand why people are complaining. Like, are you not grateful that we're getting another Sony Santa Monica game? Like, that's an improvement. Like, I don't. People are so fucking entitled, bro. Like,
I don't
yeah,
want
go
to
ahead.
say that they are entitled. Truthfully, I don't know what it is. I don't really want to. I don't even think these are real people or like real concerns. But then
I
again,
think it's
David
one guy
Jaffe
with
is.
multiple accounts that's just being pessimistic.
Well, there's David Jaffe that said what he said, so you know what I'm saying. I mean, he knew damn well that that was a totally disingenuous conversation.
What
You
did
know what
he
I'm
say
saying?
again?
Oh, he said that God of War looks like DLC. Right, Ragnarok
What
looks like
the?
DLC.
I'm not even gonna curse. I'm gonna hold my tongue. But what? Why would he say that?
He caused a big. I'm surprised you don't know with the round table and everything like that. He caused a big ass uproar.
Really? Isn't he a dev too, or a
He
former
he
dev?
he was a dev at one
You
point.
think
You
he
know what
just
I
feeling a
mean?
little bit jealous, or kind of
I
has
think
some
he's jelly.
angst?
I
He's
think
like,
he's a little
oh,
jelly.
these new devs are getting all the attention, and making the
But
actual fucking impactful games, and he was
but
just
it's
like,
not a
"Oh,
new
okay."
dev. It's not a new dev though. Like Corey
I mean,
was there with him.
not new devs, but like the current generation, including Corey.
Oh
The ones
no
that are
no no
still
no
there.
no. Well, Corey's not new though. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he's
So
been
he
there
can't.
since the early. I know, but I'm saying like the
Since
people
he's
who are
been
still
there.
working there. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's no. This is a Corey situation. What's going on, Cloak? This is a Corey situation, my
Uh
dude.
huh. Okay.
That's this shit reeks of like jelly.
It does. Like I can tell that guy's kind of has some angst against his
And he had a nerve to
development.
say that. And he had a nerve to say that. Oh, well, this doesn't mean that it's a bad game. Like you know exactly what the fuck you were
Like
doing.
he used to work there. He knows how many years they've been working on this and how many days they've slaved away. And he would. Why would he say something like that as a dev? Even just like there's some serious like underlying like issues.
Like
You know what I'm saying?
people got on him for that shit too because it was like you know how hard it is to make games, especially since you were to move from AAA games. You knew exactly what's going on, and you still said what the fuck you said.
I do
You know what I'm
believe
saying?
I do believe that I was
Well,
reading
hello
an
to you too.
hi, but on the
What's going on, bro?
DLC, but on the DLC topic, I was reading an article because I wanted to see if that was actually true or not. I was reading an article saying that it was written in 2019 that the studio had DLC in mind, but they said it. But
Don't even go there. Don't
Cory
even go there.
Barlog, no, hang on. Cory Barlog did say it was getting too big, and said that it had to be its own thing. Now, it's not every day. It's not uncommon for a DLC that's supposed to be made for DLC, and then it gets too big and then becomes its own game. It's not uncommon for that.
Bro, they could have made a 5 hour DLC and called it a day, but they
No,
actually
but
want to make a sequel.
that's not the argument that's happening here. You know, because a lot of times games happen like that. You know, you have a lot of things that you want to put in one title,
Mm-hmm.
and then things change, and you can't. You have to kind of release what you can, and it could either become DLC or it could become a whole new game. That's common practice.
Yeah.
David Jaffe flatly said that the game looks like DLC.
Oh, like
Knowing game development because he was a developer, and knowing AAA game development because he was a developer, and that was one of his previous fucking employers. For
So
him to
this is
say
therapy.
that, what's going on?
Hey, I like to bring up an I have to bring up a it was what you saying today was taken out of context. He was jokingly saying that on his podcast today. Now, a couple of a months ago, he was a little bit. He was, he was being really. I said he wasn't being forthcoming, but today he made a podcast just for clickbait. He was jokingly saying DLC, but I really think he don't mean nothing by that. But for what it's worth, I don't think it's worth. I don't think it's worth anybody time to entertain his bullshit. Even though I respect the guy for what he did, but he's been out of the business for like 10 years now. So why give him that that type of why why are we feeding him our time? And it just, to me, people people say shit stupidly every day, bro. And gamers can't address people who say shit every day. It's a waste of time, bro.
So let me ask you something then, right? Let me ask you
Yeah.
something. If our president of the United States said, I don't give a fuck about the Chicago, like I don't give a fuck about these poor people, right? Even if it's jokingly, you would hold them to a particular standard, wouldn't you?
Yes, because of position he holding right now. But David
Now
Jaffe,
that now that's an extreme. That's an extreme thing. So David Jaffe, you hold people accountable. Hold on, you hold people accountable based off of the knowledge that they have. You know, somebody made a mistake and got into a car accident, right? And you'd be like, okay, this is their first offense. But if you knew what you're doing with the speeding, you hold them accountable. This is a developer of the same IP he created, saying that he just completely undermined. And we all know, and he tried to play with words too to say that saying that DLC is inferior is wrong. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it like this was looking for clicks. He tried to literally clean this shit up.
Defend
Now,
his
why am I
point
giving?
basically and
He tried to
spin
defend his
it.
point, and he tried to spin it. Now, he could have easily took the way of. I was joke. I literally wanted clickbait. I was pissing on people. I want to see how riled up your motherfuckers gotten. That's what he could have said, but no, he truly meant that shit. Why am I giving him the energy? It's not necessarily giving him the energy. It's it wasn't because I don't know how well you were here for a while. Basically, it's like if a developer of that IP doesn't like what he sees, which is up that's all him. You know what I'm saying? No one's that's his opinion. But if he doesn't like what he sees, and just people in general consistently say that things look like DLC or it looks like because basically saying something looks like DLC means that you can't charge full price for it because there's either not enough content or the content hasn't changed enough for you to charge it for a new entity or a new game is what it's saying. That's what saying that DLC what
Yep,
DLC
that's the
is.
insinuation.
So what would make God of War? It's the question. It's not necessarily about David Jaffe, but what would make God of War Ragnarok into something that everybody would look at and be like, "Damn, this is a real sequel." What would be that to you?
well, speaking on that, I think he's a forgotten relic. So of course he feels some type of way
No,
because
no, I mean you. No, no, no. We're going to exit out of the Jaffe. We're going to exit out of
okay.
there. I'm talking about for you. What do you think a sequel to God of War 2018 would be? What would you quantify? What would be the qualities that would quantify a sequel in
Well,
your opinion?
that's quite simple. You follow up on the original story that they left off at. If there was a cliffhanger, and if they're going into the sequel, you want to follow up
Oh,
with
don't give me
the
that
with the
bullshit, man. Don't give me no textbook shit. I'm talking about you. You,
oh
who would you
me.
consider? Yeah, don't. I only. We all adults here. We don't need no textbook answer. What would you
Well,
consider?
I would like them to improve on every aspect of the game. If we're talking about new hardware, yes, I would like to see more move sets, variety of enemies. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see an expansion on the this an expansion on majority of the gameplay. So uh,
Just the mechanics. So you're saying the expansion of the gameplay mechanics.
yeah,
All right, yo, what's going on, Thrash?
you know, you know how the first God of War you had you had the move sets. I would like to see more moves. You take the old ones out, or you add some move. You add more moves on top of the old moves. So that's a sequel to me.
So go give me a second here. So here's the thing, and I got you on this one. I think I could answer this question for everybody. I don't think it's really animations, although that contributes into a sequel. I don't think it's new enemies necessarily, although that contributes into a sequel. I think it's really the new experience. It needs to be something that did not happen in the first game. was just new. So let's expand on what you just told me. The difference between God of War 1 and 2 was the new experience. You rode on a Pegasus in the fucking sky. You know what I mean? They had better cutscenes. You know, there were better fucking fight scenarios. There was just stuff that the original fighting engine wasn't capable of doing at that time. It was a fresh new experience on the same formula. You know what I'm saying? It's like taking turkey and making turkey salad. It's a whole new fucking experience. You know what I mean? So I feel like what a sequel would be, where certain games fall short, is that if it's the same mechanics and nothing is really brought new to the table in regard to that. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think we should give an example of what an actual like DLC sequel is. That's outside of a sports game, which is known.
I don't know how old you guys are, but technically it would be. See, I can't even say. Yeah.
Ooh, here's a question.
We could say
Since you
Mario
brought that
Party.
up,
You know what I'm saying?
since you brought that up, here's one thing: is that would you count, just by going off your logic, and then just popped in my head? I don't know if it's correct or not, but this just popped in my head. Would you say that Horizon Forbidden West would be like a DLC
No,
sequel?
absolutely
No,
not.
it's a new
No.
experience.
Yes.
But a lot of people were saying, and a lot of people were saying that was like it feels
That's
the
not a
same
lot of
yet
people.
new.
That's just a few people.
No,
Just loud.
Even it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but they're loud and they speak for a majority of people.
Mhm.
So I get what I'm going to take. I'm going to take them on, but before I take on that particular case, right, think about what Tomb Raider 2, old school Tomb Raider, old back in the day, triangular titty Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Right. Tomb Raider 1 to Tomb Raider 2, what they did with the experience, even though the fucking the development cycle was fucking under a year, it was fucking crazy back then. It still used the same animations, but they added more animations. She could twirl, she could change direction in the air. She had the flare mechanic in there too, and the levels were like twice or three times bigger than what it was, and they had like the lighting actually changed the dynamic of the game where you needed flares in dark areas. Um, she had the what do you call it, the zip line animation as well, and she had vehicles. That wasn't an experience that was in the first one, period. Where she can ride the boat, she can ride the snowmobile, and that lends itself to a brand new way of playing the game. Tomb Raider 2 to Tomb Raider 3, they didn't do anything new other than better graphics and new scenarios for those same mechanics. They just gave her more vehicles. We already rode on vehicles in the second game. They gave her new moves, but it didn't really contribute into a new experience. It just basically refined what was existing. When you go to Horizon Forbidden West versus the Horizon, the melee system is completely different, which changes how you interact with the enemies. The way that you the actual RPG mechanics is completely overhauled. It's not even the same. She has Valor Surges or Supers, so you got shit like that going on. She can fly in this game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
She has a hang glider in there. She has the fucking pole caster that zips her across the way. You know what I'm saying? The cutscenes are even more impactful. The machines require the whole
You
shit
can
is
swim.
different.
You can literally swim, and
Oh, and you
there's
can
machines
fucking swim
underwater.
under. You can swim under fucking water.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
not that wouldn't, it doesn't even quantify as DLC. That would be
Yeah.
that would be too much. Go on.
I personally would not say that Horizon Forbidden West would be a DLC, or I don't really see that as DLC. Like you could, like I could, if you were going to put like
What's your
pieces.
opinion on it, though? Like, what's your just
What's my
clear cut
opinion?
opinion on it? Forget what
what-
other people are saying. Just what's yours? Like,
What's mine?
Yeah, just clear and cut.
Okay, so like when I first got Horizon Forbidden West, I didn't know about the DLC debacle about that. I just saw it as like a sequel. Now can I say that I did feel there was a couple things that were familiar
so
to
you
me
were
from
influenced by
Horizon.
others.
So let them finish.
No. It was just more. It just popped in my head, just like, oh yeah, I remember this. But but when I first played it, I didn't know that at all. So when I played it, I loved the game. I totally love it. when I was playing it, it felt familiar to me because I played Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's okay because you want it once you go into the sequel, you want to be like familiarized. You don't want to like feel like you don't want to. At least for me, I don't want to feel like totally brand new, but I have to learn everything over again. I want to actually like go in and since it's like a sequel, I want to go in and knowing and take what I know with me.
So
Okay, but what's your
is it
opinion on it though? What's your
is
clear
it
cut opinion on it? I feel you're dodging the question.
Yeah, I gotta let me get in on
Like
this shit.
like what do you mean by clear cut opinion?
Like, do
Are you
you
saying
think
like do
it's
I like the
DLC or
game?
not, regardless of
No,
what you've
he
seen
said no.
online?
He said
no,
no.
no, no, no,
He
no,
said
no.
Okay.
he straight up said no. Hold on, he straight up said no. And what he
Okay.
ended up saying is that the game is a bit familiar to the first game, and it has to be fucking familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's only two games in the series. God of War is like what, 7? So they better have done something totally new. I mean, no one says anything about
And
Mario.
and God
It's
of War 3 is not the same at all to 4.
Oh, you gotta let me get in this game, Cass. It's hurting.
First of all, it's illicit. We're going. I changed my name like Prince.
Okay. You're gonna have to crack me a couple times before I get it done. Man, man, this is the stupidest fucking bullshit, disingenuous narrative. I'm so sick of these loser motherfuckers that got nothing to play on their goddamn console. So what they do
Ooh,
is denigrate all these other motherfucking games. Man, let's talk about this shit for a minute.
preach.
oh
Listen,
my.
these sequels are rarely revolutionary, right? They're iterative, right? That's why they're sequels. When you see when you look at God of War, a franchise that had 6 games in it, 4 console games. I wish I could say 5 because like I want to erase Ascension from my existence, which I played for the first time 2 weeks ago. But we're talking about 4 mainline console games and 2 PSP games, which were very iterative, not only from a character development and narrative standpoint, but from a combat standpoint. God of War, in its original form, was very much this bullet hell like game where you just gotta fuck shit up indiscriminately and wreck shit all day long. And then they took this franchise with a character that was largely one dimensional, right? There's, of course, some complexity and nuance to him, but he was motivated by rage, right? Not this complex character. They completely revolutionized his entire existence, flipped the whole gameplay fucking mechanic upside down on its head, stripped us away of the most defining trait that is Kratos, and that is the Blades of Chaos. And somehow in E3 2016 had the greatest game reveal ever made. This is the leap they made from the original franchise to the 2018 reboot is monumental and fucking largely unseen unless we're talking about franchises like Mario into Mario 64 or Mario into Sunshine or Mario into Galaxy or Zelda into Breath of the Wild. There's very few franchises you could even cite. Or Metroid, right? Metroidvania or Metroid 2D into Metroid Prime series. There's so few games that have stood the test of time and revolutionized to the degree of those titles that I just mentioned. Then you have these fucking loser ass motherfuckers with nothing to play talking about you got the same animation. I love Gears of War so much. I got a Gears of War tattoo on my right shoulder blade. Gears of War has been the same franchise since 2006. The rerun animation hasn't fucking changed. Nothing about the franchise has changed. You don't see these motherfuckers bitching about it. They're capping for that shit all day long, and they don't even play it. So when we look at this game and we're like, oh, it's much of the same, motherfucker, what do you want? Here's the thing, and it's going to be unfairly criticized for this. I cited the monumental changes, right? You can only catch lightning in the bottle like that one time. You can only take a franchise and revolution it like that within the same series across a span of 4 years only one time. So, of course, this is going to be iterative. Of course, it's going to be much of the same. The narrative is going to fucking blow people's mind. You got Tyr on screen, 2 God of Wars, and they are going to introduce a third weapon, probably Mjolnir. So, what do these people want other than to talk shit about a game they haven't played and are never gonna fucking play? God of War is the fucking GOAT. IGN rated it fucking game of the fucking century or whatever the fuck they did. And for me, it is the second best game ever created in history only behind Final Fantasy X. So fuck these losers with their bullshit ass narratives. I just played Forza Horizon 5, and it's the same Forza as 4 and the same Forza as fucking 3 with a different environment. And guess what? I rated it a 9 out of 10 and loved every second of that experience. But this cherry picking bullshit where they apply one thing to one and not the other, cut this shit out. Fucking losers.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hit
Well,
the clapping emojis right now. Let's see it.
yo, I can't even say really. I can't add to that because it really is. I mean, all I can do is accentuate like what you were saying, but you already done everything. All I could do is just say my piece.
Listen,
Actually,
and
I
I would
mean,
say one last thing. When I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, it poured a little bit of water on my fire, right? But then I started to think, how fucking unreasonable is it for me to think they could revolutionize this whole entire thing from the ground up across 4 years in the second title? That's an iterative sequel, and I was realizing how unrealistic I was being. But at the end of the day, they don't even hold their own franchises to that same level of criticism either. At the end of the day, I expect more of the same, and I expect the story to blow me out the fucking water. Now, God of War 2018, in my opinion, had one flaw and one flaw only, and that is they stripped away diversity in boss battles and those epic grand moments, those spectacles that are so synonymous with the franchise. And I think that they have to give us that back in this next one, or I am going to criticize it heavily.
I want the violence specifically because that was a staple of the game. I mean, I'm sorry that was like God of War was like Mortal Kombat of fucking these hack and slash. It was extremely violent. It don't have to be up there, but it was like they went off camera when it came to Kratos, digging the heart out of that troll or whatever the fuck it is. And on top of it, like I said, they had dragons and shit. And the dragons, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? My question is this, right? When you like you said before, when people sit there and say that, oh, I was expecting more, and then they never could answer the fucking question, like, what were you expecting? Because that's like somebody expecting something different out of you the following year. You know what I'm saying? Like you are who you are. That's the DNA of you, and these games have a specific DNA, or else it's not that game. You
mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Gran Turismo, for instance, Gran Turismo was known for its career mode, and it has like a staple. When they tried to deviate from that shit, which was sport, people were pissed. It didn't feel the same. Even you couldn't even tune your cars. You just had fucking sliders for fucking tuning. People were like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Although it was fairly successful in its genre, people did not want that shit to the point where it had to go back to the drawing board when they made 7. You know what I'm saying? So there's a DNA for sure. There's a DNA that needs to be adhered to. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at God of War 2018, they kept the DNA there. It was a different weapon, and they fleshed out that weapon as far as you could push it. But the DNA
And then
was
at the
definitely
end of
still
the
there.
day, yeah, I'm here. And at the end of the day, think about it, right? They would return upon us the blades of chaos. So at the end of the day, while
They got
completely
everything there.
exactly while completely revolutionizing everything that it was for the majority of the playtime, then they gave us that core experience of what is God of War. And that is something we talked about in a previous space. There's this delicate balance that exists that is so hard to strive, and that's why I don't care what anyone has to say about Fortnite. Fortnite is a genius about it, and I don't even play Fortnite anymore. But you have this balance between being loyal to your core audience while also courting in new fan bases. And we go back to Gears of War, right? They're so fucking loyal to their fan base, which is a dwindling
Kinda.
fan base game after game since Gears of War 3, with diminishing returns, diminishing sales with every iteration since Gears 3. And the thing is, you can only be so loyal to your fan base, especially when it's dwindling. You have to find that balance between bringing in new people, continuing to innovate, while also having that core fabric DNA we're just speaking of. And War 2018 hits that shit masterfully.
I think a
And
better comparison would be the transition from Halo 3 to Halo 4. because your rant really reminded me of that, and how they changed Kratos and basically did the same thing to Master Chief and try to humanize him when really he didn't need it to be.
They changed the DNA, so it's the opposite. They see what they did with Santa Monica Studios is they kept the DNA of Kratos. You know what I mean? It felt like an
They
evolution.
aged
It
him. I
felt like
mean,
it felt like a revolution. And I know a
oh,
lot of.
evolution. You mean?
But the thing is, listen,
I
even
said
though
evolution.
yeah, even though they changed Kratos so dramatically, we still see throughout the length of that story the internal struggle of him
Old
trying
Kratos.
to kill that old Kratos. But this motherfucker let the stranger slap this bitch in the face and still gave him an opportunity to walk away. Like, but
Mhm.
you see those micro expressions, you see that body language. So even though
Someone's
you don't
dog is
see,
going crazy in the
sorry,
background.
that's me in the background. My
Okay.
dog's training tap dogs. I'll walk further away. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, like even though we don't see that outward expression, if you look, you see that internal battle going on to kind of push that beast that is fucking the ghost of Sparta down. So it's all there, man. You're right. The fabric of the DNA that is God of War in its original form, it's all there while still courting in the new audience. So keep in mind that God of War 2018, and you might have to get this right, but God of War 2018 alone sold more than several of the mainline franchises combined, which is an indication that they have old comers and more newcomers to the franchise than ever before
And it
because they
stuck. I
were able
mean,
to strike that
and
balance.
and it stuck. I mean, look, people were sending dick pics to get that. People were dancing for dicks. I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, we can't confirm that, but I'm going to say people are very passionate, at the very least, about God of War because they struck that balance. It was perfect.
I
I
wouldn't
know
call
a
that
lot of people.
passion.
Hold
I
on,
would
wait,
call
wait,
that
wait.
like obsession to a sickly level. But continue,
No,
continue.
I know, you know. But I will say this, right? I will definitely say, right, that I know some Halo fans. They're big fans. They did not
Mhm.
like that. They didn't like that change at all because they changed
No.
the fucking DNA to the point where it wasn't the same game. The same thing was happening with Gears of War. People don't like the change of what they've done with Gears of War. They're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't do what was right for the core fan base. They didn't do it. You didn't refresh it. And again, it what they did with God of War is it felt like a mature version. It was like it changed from grape juice to wine. You know,
Oh man, it's so. Can I just say one thing because that just triggers something for me, man. This I love God of War, man. That shit, I'm passionate about it. But the way you just brought that up, think about this, man. A lot of us started playing God of War in high school, in adolescence. Here we are, having loved, having lost, having grown up, having matured, having become fathers, and to see and a lot of us have grown up with this character and now can relate with these changes over time. Like, talk about understanding your fucking audience. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Hmm.
Yo,
And
Thrash, what you
then,
gotta say about this shit? Hold on, let me get Thrash in there.
okay.
Hey, what's up, niggas?
What's going on? Oh wait, you're not sick with the COVID, are you? What the fuck's
Nah,
this?
man, I got a headache like a motherfucker. Man, I've been fucked
I
up.
got something funny to say.
Oh shit. Go
Hold on,
ahead, bro.
hold on.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, to start back off of cheat codes. What he said. I was just and Master Chief has to run around and try to find his Vocaloid waifu.
Yo, did you see the? I don't know. It was a developer for the old before Halo changed to the open world game that it was. Did y'all see that cutscene and what they
What?
were doing? They kind of they had Master Chief and it was trying to do the whole evolutionary thing.
Oh,
Right?
oh
Y'all
yeah, yeah,
seen
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Where
I was like,
they copied off God of War.
no, well, I don't know about them coughing over God of War, but it was more of a cinematic experience. It was like right direction, and then they made this. I don't know what that is, but go on, Thrash. Go on, Thrash. You know, you got a headache and shit.
Yeah, it's all
Welcome,
good.
welcome.
Chilling, nigga. Chilling, nigga. What's up, y'all? What's up, JV? What's up, Hobbs? Bitch ass nigga. What's up, D Quans? Oh, hooded. Only D Quan don't play dominoes, my nigga. Like, get your fucking game up. But I disagree about about God of War with you niggas. I really do, especially how it went. Not in a bad way, not in a debative way, but just I remind y'all of something. But first, Halo. Halo is they didn't even really change the story of the game. They altered the story to fit the type of game that they wanted to recreate, and that's why that shit got fucked off. Them niggas tried to make this shit open world when it didn't need to be. They went free to play when it didn't need to be. And it was all just to grab onto this hope that Halo was popular enough to compete with the Fortnites and the Apexes and shit like that. That's where the fuck we at. That's where the fuck they are. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why their service game is barely even a service. But as far as God of War goes, I don't think Kratos changed a bit. Not 1 ounce. And I say that because if you go all the way back to part one, what's the reason why Kratos was mad in the first place? Like
Oh,
Well,
he lost his
because he was
he killed
manipulated
his
into
family,
killing his family.
right? He killed his wife and he killed
well
his daughter.
he killed his family. He killed his family, but he was tricked into killing his family, and
Right.
he wanted release
Yeah.
or to forget or
Exactly.
something, and they
Exactly.
wouldn't allow him.
Right. So he was raging out because of that. That was the base of his rage. Was his family getting killed and him killing his family, basically himself without wanting to. And now he has a new family. And I think that this is the same Kratos. This is just him trying to reset for the sake of Loki, of Atreus. And so that's why he's so protective of Atreus. Don't want Atreus to be a god. Don't want to get into this god shit because he lost his whole family dealing with gods before. He just lost his new girl and he doesn't want to lose the last thing that he has, or he might just lose it all over again. I think that's the premise of their story is that it's the same Kratos. This is just the Kratos
See,
we didn't see prior to his daughter getting killed, prior
see,
to
that's the
his
thing.
wife being
That's the
More
thing,
killed.
Thrash.
nuance.
Though we never got. So I hear where you're coming from, Thrash. But I think the biggest difference is we beyond a few flashbacks and cutscenes. And I just wrapped up Ascension recently. We even if you say Kratos was that man at one point, we never experienced Kratos as that man, right?
No.
And while you're saying it's not a change, and I disagree, it's also amplified on a whole nother level, even when we draw those comparisons, right? Because he's already experienced that rage. He's already remember, he had to be cursed to wear the ashes of his loved ones slaughtered at his own hand. So even when we draw that comparison, it's amplified on a whole nother level. But we never got to experience a reserved Kratos. We never got to experience a Kratos that had something to lose. While he might have been that man at one point, we never
Mhm.
got that experience
Right.
with him.
And that's the beauty.
Well, what's the thing? Well, with
That's not really
Thrash's
disagreeing
argument,
with me.
what
Yeah.
Thrash is arguing is that the character is he hasn't changed much. What
I
they
disagree
are,
on that.
what they
He
are
just has
doing,
something to live for now. You know what I'm
well, what they
saying?
are
I
doing
guess
is
I don't
giving.
disagree that he was that person at one point. I think the only thing I want to really stand out is because we never got to experience him in that form and fashion. That is why it's such a monumental difference in who he is
Right.
versus
It's
how
the
we
opposite.
know him to
Yeah,
be.
but here's the thing. That's why it works because he technically didn't really change. What is happening is there's an opening as the more of Kratos of who he is because we got little signs about his loyalty and shit like that, like when he had to fight one of his Spartan soldiers.
I
And he
also
was,
disagree.
and he was. Oh, hold on for a minute.
Well,
And then
real
he
quick.
also was angry at the fact that he had to fight him, and he was really hurt about that. There was a lot of little
Yeah.
Uh,
shiny
It was.
things about it.
I hear
If
you
you
on
look
that,
at
but
it,
there's one
that's
more
exact.
thing. If I could, Thrash, because I'd like you to respond to this. One more thing, we're making assumptions about the type of man he was towards his previous family to that of this, and we don't have that. But if we look at the historical context, right, of Spartan soldiers in Sparta in Greece, these are the history of these people. They would take their children if they were born with any type of defect. They would leave them to the elements on the top of the cliff to die, or throw them off the cliff. The Spartans would raise their kids, and that they were born, they would bathe them douse them in alcohol, and only the babies that could survive past the convulsions would then be taken to be judged fit. Like these Spartan warriors, right? If we look at that historical context, at the age of like 10, and the girls had the same training as the boys, very similar training, they'd leave them in the forest in the nude for a year to see who the fuck lived. So when we look at this historical context, what kind of father was Kratos? He was a father that probably raised his child in the Spartan ways, which were savage fucking ways. We don't see that upbringing with Atreus. We see him more withdrawn, more cold, not wanting to do anything. At the point where his wife dies, it seems like there's no relationship there. So and Atreus is fucking soft, right? So the love and that he had shown for his kid was so contradictory to the assumed cultural upbringing of his previous family. So like when you think about that, and yeah, I'm filling in some blanks based on Spartan culture and history. We gotta imagine that this is his upbringing of Atreus is so different than that of
But
his
it is also,
family.
Yeah, you got
it
it's
is
a
also a
different realm.
different, it's a
Yeah,
different realm, and he turned his whole back on that shit because he thought everything I liked about everything I know, and I don't want to have anything to fucking do with it. I want to just start
Yeah,
over
he
again.
yeah.
changed.
He left
He
that whole
changed.
realm behind.
But like
He left that whole realm.
as I told you before, it's almost feels like it changed from grape juice to wine. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
No, it
yeah.
did.
So
No,
It completes the story. It gives you a bigger side of what Kratos
that's what it
was.
was.
And
And
like
let's
you
not
said,
yeah.
they brought it. He in the Greece. You say they brought their kids up in a different way. Yada yada yada. Cool. That doesn't mean that they didn't. These fathers didn't love their children. Didn't love their wives. You know what I'm saying?
They had
Obviously
a
he
different way
did
of
love
doing
his
it.
kids. This man went and killed all the fucking Greek gods. I think he did love his family, bro. Like that's just if you look at what he did, the rage. That's like blind rage from tragedy, and now he's dealing with rage from the love side, the protective father side. Yeah, you see how he took that slap, right? He took that hit from
Boulder.
Boulder, right? And you like that old Kratos wouldn't have done that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
why did he take that slap? Because
He
he
wanted
had
to
his son hiding in the
yep.
fucking
Okay,
house, bro.
you guys need to cut
You know
the
what I'm saying?
cap. God of War is not going to be better than Flight Simulator. Xbox is the best
You know what?
console.
I'm over this
Man,
dude. No,
shoot the
no, no,
shit,
no.
bro.
Yo, so let me say this. Let me say this, right? So in Horizon, and again, the story it's a different story. So when I played the first Horizon, right? Her dad, her surrogate dad, was fucking savage as well. Or Aloy.
Is this going to be spoiler
Ross.
centric portion right now?
No,
Listen.
no. This is the
Okay.
first game. Ross.
This is the first 30 minutes of the game,
No,
Chico,
Yeah.
no,
so
no.
it's
I
not
just
that
meant if he
much.
was going to make comparisons to
No, no,
Forbidden
no,
West.
no. All I
Okay,
was
first
saying
of
is
all, G
this.
Kill don't play no games, so don't worry about it.
Damn.
Yo, focus. So the thing is, Ross was an outcast, right? So he was shunned from the whole society in their area, and you already know that Aloy was shunned unless she could prove herself in that proving, and he trained her enough to know like she could get put back into society, but he was like, man, you gotta cut this fucking connection. Like I don't want you to be fucking soft with this shit. He decided like, yo, I did everything I could. This is it. He even said when he showed her the sawtooth, I'm just recently playing it again. Shut up. That he was like, yo, if you don't learn how to fight this thing, you're gonna die, and I'm not gonna intervene either. It's and then later on you figure out like Aloy was kind of pissed off at him, but she was like, he loved her in his own way, and that's the same thing with the whole Spartan situation. They were brutal. The same thing with fucking Japanese culture. The same thing with Chinese culture. With the whole kung fu and shit like that. They are brutal. People don't really think. People don't think about how they could be limber and fast and all this other shit. You got to learn that shit from an early age, and it's painful. That shit ain't
Judge,
easy.
well, Judge, if you're going to talk about Japanese games, we need the only true Japanese game in the community, Akira. So I don't think it's right for you to talk about Japanese games.
Chill.
You
I
know what?
do. I
No,
do
we
have.
will. We will not. do that shit. I
Hey,
already spoke about
listen.
that
You're
shit.
basically trying to say it's just part of the culture. It's not like brutal to them. It's their culture. They don't even
Is
think about it as in
that
brutal or easy. It's just it. You know, it's not like brutal or
right? I
sucks.
mean,
It's just their
for me,
culture.
I'll say this. I'll say this for myself. My grandmom had the slightest fucking clue when it came to raising kids. She was awful at it. I'm not gonna lie to you. She was fucking awful. But I know that she did the best that she could do. I remember, here's a story real quick. I remember I asked everyone a question because to me it's pertinent. I asked this before, and then we can move on to the second topic here. Um, I remember cutting my mom's Christmas lights. And I was watching like Bill Nye the Science Guy and all those shit. And if you know about a complete circle, none of that shit could be cut, or else the whole Christmas lights would stop working. But I cut a light bulb and two positive and negative wires to hook up to a 9-volt battery, right? And I showed her because I wanted to show her how smart I was. And instead of her acting like a parent, it was like, wow, you know what I mean? I can't believe you did this. You know what I'm saying? Well, this looks nice. She flipped the fuck out. She said, motherfucker. I couldn't, like, you know how your jaw involuntarily opens? Like, what the fuck? What happened?
You thought
She
she
was
was
like,
a white lady for a second, bro. I think
yo,
that's your
she was,
problem.
bro, she was like, you fucked up my Christmas. I paid good money for that shit. I was like, but I just want to show you that I made this. She was like, Edison already created the fucking light bulb. Do something else. I was like, damn. Also, I used to draw really, really well when I was younger. I used to, paint and shit like that. Acrylics, water paint, everything. So I thought I was killing it. And I made her a little birthday card, right? And the Mother's Day card. Really nice. Like I spent like a week on this bitch. And I gave that shit to her. And she was fucking pissed. She was fucking angry. That's the best you got. You couldn't even save up your allowance to give me something real. You didn't scrunched up some scraps for your fucking mother. That's the type of shit that I dealt with. But this lady will die for me if anything happens. To this day, as she's turning 76 this year, she will die for me.
That's
So,
love.
like, I can honestly say, yeah, Kratos was rough. That whole, the whole Greek mentality, that's rough. He wanted to leave all that shit behind. That's what it was. That whole realm, everything. He was like, fuck all y'all niggas. I have nothing to live for in this Greek realm. That shit's a wrap. I have nothing to live for.
You
And I
know what I will say?
guarantee you, hold on. I guarantee you, Faye, she calmed his ass down. I think there's stories about it, but go on, cheat.
I was just gonna say, from like a standpoint, right? Because it, even though we're dealing with the same person who went through these whole different realm, whole different everything, it's kind of and thinking about the story you just told, right? It's kind of like as a parent that mentality, like your parents did some really fucked up shit, right? I got my ass fucking beat so bad as a kid for shit, all the time, but by today's standards it would be child abuse, right? And when I say
Yeah,
it would be child abuse by today's standards, I'm not talking about the soft America that we've become. I mean, it would like actually be child abuse by today's
yeah,
standards.
yeah,
But I don't hold any animosity or resentment towards my parents. I know, culturally that's hitting was like a thing, right? And I don't really condone it either, but I understand. But here I am raising my own daughter, right? And I don't spank my daughter. I don't hit my daughter, or anything of that nature. But it's kind of like that mentality of like know better, do better. That mentality of like you are successful as a parent when you do and provide and produce better than your parents did. And it's almost like that in a way for Kratos. It's like it was this way. This was the cultural upbringing, but I know what that does. I've seen what it does. I've seen how it made me. Now I know better. Now let me go do better with my new family.
yeah. And I agree. I agree. And I also say that, like I said before, it's a different culture. and I feel like Faye actually calmed them down. You know what I mean? There's actually books and comics with this stuff there too. I haven't looked too deeply into it, but it gives more context. Thrash, let me ask you a question. What would be considered a sequel to you of the 2018 God of War? Since
Exactly what
apparently
we
anime,
did. Shit. I'm not gonna listen to David Jab. David Jab. I mean, I wouldn't even give credence
not
to
even
David
David
Jab.
Jaff, not even David Jaffe, just for the other people, because like I feel like a sequel is an experience that just couldn't have been done in the previous iteration from the
Man,
predecessor.
look, man. Like, let's say it like this: you can't expect a game to come out in the same generation have a generational leap that would be able to be had. This God of War is on both PS5 and PS4. They have to make this thing work. There's never been in the history of gaming a game that was a generational leap in the same generation. God of War 2 was on PlayStation. God of War 1 was on PlayStation. God of War 2 was better, but it played exactly the motherfucking same. Mario's, Halos, Gears, Gears 1, 2 through 3 was on fucking Xbox and they play exactly the same. In fact, these new Gears, they climb a ladder with one arm exactly the same way as they did in part fucking 1. They all run to cover and do the same exact thing. Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, you can see a leap in quality in 2 from 1, but you still got that same exact game. Period. You didn't get a generational leap from 1 until you got 4 because it was in a new generation. It's just it's stupidity. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like, this stupidity. I can't understand. These are people who aren't gamers. I don't think Jaff is a gamer. Jaff is a developer. He is not a gamer. And people who follow his credence as a gamer aren't really gamers because y'all should have more gaming experience than David Jaff. I know that sounds crazy. David Jaff has more gaming creation than us, but he does not have more gaming experience on what we expect and what we see from games outside the realm of a God of War. For him to say that, oh, it just looks like a DLC, is just him being disrespectful and trying to get some views and likes. Anybody following that thought um, are proving that they aren't either A, are with this Twitter bullshit, or B, not really gamers don't even know what a fucking sequel is because fuck, I mean, even some games haven't even made the generational leap, like like Chico said earlier with Forza Horizon 4 and 5. You can't really see a generational leap there, bro. You really can't. It's just a new fucking map and that's it.
You know, Thrash,
And that's acceptable.
I would like to get your opinion on something you said, though. I'm curious. Because I was really straining to try and come up with a generational leap, right? But I think I can think of two, and I want to hear if you believe it constitutes this. On the generational leap would be fucking Breath of the Wild, because we can't forget that Breath of the Wild launched on the Wii
On the Wii
U,
as well as the Wii U.
right? So I think that would count as one, and then maybe Mario Galaxy as well.
Well,
Those are the only two that I can think of.
I say it like this, bro. A generational, at least in my opinion, this is how I view it, right? This is how I understand it. A generational leap would be a game that utilizes something in the new generation that is impossible to be done in the old generation. Say Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank graphically isn't a generational leap above the other Ratchet and Clank on 2016 that was on the PS4. They both look great. It does clearly look better, but the things that you can do in Ratchet and Clank, you cannot in Ratchet and Clank PS5, you cannot do on Ratchet and Clank PS4 at that level of quality and at speed. Period. It took the generational thing. It's a generational leap because it's doing things that's impossible in the last generation. So generational leap to me can be visuals because a lot of visuals cannot be achieved in certain generational leaps. But at the same time, that's just the base. I mean, every generation should have a higher, more power and more ability to do things graphically. But there are some games that chose to skip to do a slightly better graphics, but do things that are impossible that they have always wanted to do in another generation. You know what I'm saying? In the last generation that they couldn't do, now they can do. So,
Well, let me add this: just because a sequel does not have to be a generational leap either.
that's the point. I mean, most
You know what
sequels
I'm
are.
saying? Yes,
Most
that's
sequels are. Yeah.
they're two different things. You got Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time as well, and that's considered
Mhm.
a sequel. So that wasn't DLC, and it could have been, but it wasn't DLC. And I get what you're saying because I mean, again, a sequel to me will be an experience that wasn't able to happen in that original,
Generation.
in the
Right.
original title. You know
What
what I'm
people are
saying?
expecting from God of War
Right
is
now,
different.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't know what. I don't think they know what they're fucking expecting from God of War. You know what I'm saying?
They
Because
they are
I mentioned.
expecting greatness, bro. I mean, it's simple. It's quite simple, Josh. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's quite simple. They are making preemptive excuses to say the game is bad in some way. Period. Everybody who loves God of War, but on camera don't, or on Twitter don't, are going to say, "Oh yeah, it's a DLC." I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it, bro.
They
No
were
matter
saying.
how good it is.
They were saying Horizon was the same exact thing. Well, I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I've
It's
seen a
insane
couple
to
of
think
reviews.
that.
It
You
just
need to go
grows
back and play Horizon to see
Okay,
the
first of all,
difference in
why are people
graphics.
down this field that got a 94 on Metacritic? I don't
because
understand what this
Because they
you
have
is.
can't because
YouTube
you they
channels,
and you
nigga.
should and you as you should because look what the fuck happened with CD Project Red. They went from fucking The Witcher 3 to
Bruh, Witcher
Cyberpunk.
3 was garbage.
Well,
No, but if
in
you
your
but
thought this was
no
well
opinion,
you
known.
just
I thought this
you
was well
just
known.
mentioned
Listen,
no
we can have this debate too.
you just mentioned scores and then say that it was crap. The Witcher 3 was crap. No. Go back to the scores.
Nigga, have you seen the horse
Critically,
controls in that game?
it doesn't matter. Critically, it was a good game.
Yeah,
Period.
You're right. Critically,
So the
everybody
thing
has their own
is,
opinion, bro.
everybody have their own opinion.
You can't. Yeah, it's
I
impossible to
spoke to
debate
people.
shit
Yeah,
like that.
I spoke to people. People love it, and it's okay. And you
Yeah.
can love whatever you can
low
love.
key
But
trash was the wrong word. I mean, just not a 90 above, maybe like an 86.
no, they
No,
did. They
who
pushed.
are you? You can't. I mean, I guess you can give it your own personal score,
Yeah,
but
it would be
if you're
86.
gonna throw a number, you need to give me why that number is there. You know what I'm saying? And what is
And
it
The
if you
gonna
horse
talk,
take for a
controls
game to
was
get a
and
one?
if you're talking about, but the same thing with
Yeah,
Horizon. Did you like Horizon Zero Dawn?
of course.
Did you, what rating would you give that?
89.
You would give it an 89. I
Yeah,
feel like the game's an 85.
an 85.
It
What
was
Okay,
game do you give a one?
a
a
one.
one.
If it's impossible for a game to get a one, then your fucking scoring system is flawed. You know that, right?
A game that will get a one. Hold on, let me think.
You got to
Oh
think about it.
The launch version of Cyberpunk. That
no,
will
that's
get
not
a
a
one.
one.
What?
That's not a one because it's
The
The
launch
playable.
version of
PS4
Here's the
version,
thing:
Cyberpunk was technically fucked up.
if a
Okay,
game
why was
is
it a one?
because it was literally unplayable.
no,
They
people
don't.
played
That's not
people
giving
played
And
me
I
an
it.
think
explanation,
we
bro.
can
Like
account for glitches
No,
into the
what
rating
was
score as
unplayable
well.
about Cyberpunk at launch?
Have you
Like,
tried
what
the
is it? What
PS4
gave it a
base
one?
version of that, bro?
No,
When
no,
it
no.
launched, my god.
The game was a multi-platform game, and people finished it. They even finished it on the PlayStation 4. They even
You could
finished it on
finish
it.
it, but that shit was
But
so
then,
unpolished,
but
though.
then
That's a
that's the
one.
thing. That's the thing. It could be a 4 or a 3 or whatever the case is. A game that
How was it
functionally doesn't
graphically?
work. Right.
Like,
A game that functionally cannot work, I would say would be a 1. It just doesn't work.
yeah. I mean,
And
everything has to
there
be.
are
I mean,
games
I
like
think
that too.
everything needs to be wrong for it to get a one. I think that people, like I said, man, niggas throw numbers out there too much. Like in order
Wait,
for
what do
something
you
to get
rate
a one,
Cyberpunk on the
and
PS4 when it launched? What do you
and
rate
hold
that?
on,
We need to know,
let me
bro.
explain it to you, dog. I understand that you don't like it. You gave it a one. Let me tell you why it's flawed, though. A game that gets a one means it's A, unplayable, B, it looks horrible, sounds horrible, the camera fucking trash. The story doesn't make any sense. The difficulty is all fucked up and spite. Like everything has to be wrong with the game for it to get a one. Everything.
Not
You know what I'm saying?
necessarily. If a game
No,
is
No, that
just
is a
necessarily,
no. A
my
okay,
nigga.
1,
Like,
no.
what do you
It
mean?
is. A
Like,
1 is
how
a
does something
1.
work and still get a one, and you got a whole criterion all the way up to
I mean,
100
if
and
we
shit?
are we accounting there's a 0.5, there's a point, one
No,
is the lowest, you're saying?
1 to 100. You didn't say a point
On a
five. You
point
asked
on a
what your
10
score
point
was.
scale?
No, you just said 100-point scale. You said it. You scale. You said an 87, right? So,
Metacritic, yeah, on
so I
Metacritic,
asked
like,
you what
yeah,
you.
I'll
So
say
you
that.
Metacritic. What the fuck, nigga? So you going by some stranger's thoughts,
I'm
right?
not going by Metacritic. I'm
You
just
going
saying
by
I
what you
would rate
assume these
like if it was
strangers will say this
if it
game
was
will
the
be.
score that I would give it would be 89. But if we're going on a tempo
Right.
scale,
But
Cyberpunk,
why
the
would you
launch
give it an
version, which is
89?
broken as fuck, my guy, is broken as
Right.
fuck.
But was the
I would give
graphics
it a
fucked up?
1. It's
Was the
my
graphics
opinion. Why
fucked
you relax? Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to
Nigga,
help
I've
you.
never
I'm
heard
trying to
someone
tell you that
defend
your
the
shit is
launch version of
flawed that way.
Cyberpunk. That's the first time I'm
No,
hearing
no.
this.
There is a
Go ahead,
lot
bro.
of people. There are a lot of people that throws numbers around a shit ton. You know what I'm
Right. And
saying?
don't have no
And the thing,
logic behind their
and the
numbers.
thing is,
No logic behind them.
I could have believed. No, it's so easy to say that the fucking game is shit because everybody else says it's shit. Not to say that you're doing it, but I'm just saying that's what it is.
I'm just
I
gonna
don't
pull an
believe.
ACG and say, "Do not buy." How about that? No more ones. Just do
But
not
then,
buy.
Right.
but
But
then, all right, then
but
that's
then that
fine
means you
though.
That's
don't
it.
have
I'm
But you
gonna pull
said,
an
but
that
you
means
ACG.
you're
said,
just
That's it.
throwing
I
numbers
don't
out of
even
your
said
rate
ass
games
it's.
then.
like on numbers like that, but I'm gonna
But you
just do
said
an
it was.
ACG.
But you said it
You
was
just said
trash
an
though.
87. Yeah, you just said it was an 87. Like I said, you're throwing numbers in the air
He
with no
asked me what I
logic
would rate it,
behind it.
so I gave a number, my guy.
I'm just no,
I
I
didn't
did,
just say
and
that out of nowhere.
you pulled that number out of your
No,
ass, right? So it's like in order for you to properly judge something and say something accurate about a game, you need to be able to have a game that gets a fucking 1 or a game that gets able to get 100. I've
no,
never had a game get 10 out of 10 in my fucking life because I've
no,
always found a problem in the game.
I don't subscribe to it being a one, but I will say definitely you need to be able to fucking articulate what's wrong with it. And if you're saying that it doesn't work, people had good experiences with it, especially on PC.
Yeah.
It
If
works
a 1 is
somewhere.
impossible, then the system is flawed. That's all I gotta say. If a 1 is
Yeah,
impossible
no,
to get,
I
then
get
the
it, but
system is flawed.
Has there
Period.
ever been a game
but
that's
here's
been
the
rated
thing.
a one
But
though?
hold on. Wait. You even said this. You
If a
said that the
game,
Witcher. But hold on. Wait. You said that the Witcher 3 was trash. Which there's no quantifiable
I
number
have
for
to
that.
make a change of words. Not trash.
I get it, but you said it wasn't a good game. And
It's
then you
okay
said
game.
some.
Below,
But then you
definitely
said
not as high as
but you
what the critics say for me personally. But go ahead.
so
and
you
that's
a
fine.
follower.
And that's
Nigga,
fine.
you listen to critics, and
I
that's the
said it's
problem.
not as high as what the critics say for me
Fuck the critics.
personally.
Critics. What about you? Like, are you going off of what other
I'm
people
saying,
are telling you
He
to
said
think?
that he no
bro,
he's
you're
saying
reading
that
too much into it, my guy.
he said
Nah,
no.
you
But
reading too little.
no, hold on, wait, because I'm not trying to have this discourse for real. Like
No,
for real, I'm
I'm
not
not
trying to have
arguing with
this.
him. I'm not even arguing with him, man.
But I'm saying here, I will say this. A lot of the times people say that the PlayStation exclusives are so good, right? And there's nothing that they could do wrong. I'm never going to say that shit. I'm never going to say it. I'm going to hold them to a high standard in general. But I will not do this though. I won't say that the game is trash because it ain't my flavor. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. If
I
you're gonna
won't
rate
say
it,
that.
yeah, you gotta.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely
That's
right.
why they should be in
I
front
will
of
say
you.
functionally. I will say this: the animation quality. I went back. You know what the funny thing is? I actually went back and I played Red Dead Redemption 2. And did you know that the horse animations are shit compared to Forbidden West for a mechanical fucking horse? I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. That game was designed off of horses with the balls that shrink, but it comes to the animations, Horizon, and you can look at it yourself. I will literally make a video tonight and show you how poor that shit is. It's crazy how technology is. So you
Okay,
can't
when
say
you said shit, would that be sort of a synonym for trash, like how I used it? You said.
you're right. I definitely created that fallacy. I'm only making a point though. Now I wasn't rating the game to be bad. I'm making a point. Now I can't give excuses. I will say that I definitely did that, but it is below the quality by a decent margin from what do you call it? Horizon Forbidden West. And I can give you a lot of reasons as to why. There's parts of the horse that will not do the same animations as the horse is running. It'll cycle through 3 different types of animations. Like the ass of the horse will randomly cycle between 3 different animations. So it'll always look like it will never repeat its animations and stuff like that. It's just crazy how they have things
Are you
going on.
spending hours staring at digital horse ass, my nigga?
Digital foundry ass. That's yes, that's what I'm doing.
This nigga here got too much. Now
That
that's the nigga
horse
who got too
dookie
much
wasn't
time.
good enough for him.
So
Shit.
so I will say this. There are horses and there are horse depictions. Fuck you gonna say there's no horses in Horizon? There's no fucking horses in. I'm looking at YouTube because it's streaming on YouTube. There's no fucking horses in any fucking game. They're polygon shaders and pixels. Come on, bro.
Look, all I'm gonna say
None
is
of that shit is the same.
if you can rate a game of 10, you can rate a game of 1. if your system that you have in your mind about rating these games, if you can rate a game of 10, you can rate a game of 1. You can call a game perfect. You gotta be able to call a game a not perfect game. But you also gotta hold credence to the average game and hold credence that every game above a 5 is above average. Everything below a 5 is
a tough thing to
below
do.
average.
That's
And you've
that's a
never
tough
rated
That's
a
why
game
it's
a
so
10
that's a
fucking
tough
hard.
either.
thing to do.
That's
You
why
know the
Elden Ring got rated so high because people
oh
just
man,
wanted to say that it was high even though it fucking wasn't, bro. Like
Exactly.
there's no there's no rhyme or reason behind it. Oh, I don't like PlayStation because they don't give me free shit or come on my podcast, so I'm gonna give them a low fucking score on any game that they fucking put out. Period. And it's been that way for about 5 years now. And it's only because people aren't being held responsible for the scores that they give these games. These are supposed to be professional motherfuckers who have a whole system that should be followed by the same way by everyone. It's okay to have your own
across the
opinion,
board,
but
it's across the board. If a game like, for instance, Elden Ring, not to shit on it, but who the fuck cares? I'm gonna speak my shit. I'm looking at Elden Ring right now. Bro, the mechanics is fucking Dark Souls 3 in an open world and some tweaked shit. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, it's a brand new IP. It should not play like fucking Dark Souls at all. To me personally, I don't give a fuck you open the world or not. When Naughty Dog went from Uncharted and then used that same engine to make fucking The Last of Us, the whole game is functionally different. You know what I'm saying? So you can't even I just feel like it was very sloppy. People are starting to understand that the gameplay was that the co-op sucks ass. It's a lot of shit that's going on. And people just gave that shit a pass. You got fucking Horizon after 6 months that has a variable refresh rate as the fucking balance mode with 40 frames a second. They fixed up the fucking frame rate. They fixed up the fucking aliasing. They
New
did
Game
all this
Plus.
shit. New Game Plus. None of that shit really happened. I don't know if the New Game Plus. I guess it's by
They
default. It's
didn't
New Game
update
Plus.
Elden Ring at all, except for like three
They
patches, just to
man, the
nerf some
patches was
stuff, and that's it.
the patches was to balance the fucking game, and people was like, and it's funny now. You start to see shit creep nowadays, which is great. I love this shit. You start to see shit creep, and people are like, you know what? I actually didn't like Elden Ring. I'm not feeling it. It was good. You had me at the first half. You know what I mean? And now, like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is. And then now people are going back to Horizon and be like, yo, this is fucking crazy. I mean, people, I guess it's a difference of opinion. But I will say this, right? Because I wanted to ask Cheat Code this, but he dipped out. But I want to go to the next topic, which was interesting. I'm glad that Thrash is here. I've been hearing a lot that the industry is moving away from single player games. More like people are running trajectories and they're seeing that like it's going to be like, what is it, 2/3 of the revenue in the gaming space is going to be service games. What do you think about that?
I think that people are only hearing numbers and not projecting them right. Like the multiplayer space is fine, like finite, however you say that shit. Single player is infinite as far as long as there's hardware out there. If there's somebody with one piece of hardware, they don't have internet, they can fucking buy and play the fucking game, enjoy it from the beginning to the end. And then there's the only competition of that is other games on sale. The problem with multiplayer only games is that if you look, especially if you look at the Halos and stuff like that, and any other multiplayer game only that came out, they have to defeat the bosses of the multiplayer realm. Period. In order to make it and break it, you got to be able to either get in where you fit in, or beat the best and beat the badasses, the Fortnites, the fucking Apex kind of slid. Apex found their lane and they are in their lane. Games like that aren't really going anywhere until people truly get tired of playing them. Your multiplayer game is going to be competing the time of those hypers. Period. Where a single player game is, you're going to have people who like multiplayer. You're going to have people who like single player. But you're going to go only multiplayer, single player people not really going to get into that shit. And then on top of that, in order to make that money, you're going to have to make a game where it's based on being monetized to where you're going to have less content. You're going to start off trash, or you're going to start off very low until you find that little edge that gets you there. I think it's too hard. I think a lot of Western companies are trying to do this shit. Japanese companies are still doing RPGs. Nintendo is doing fantastic with all this online bullshit. It's not a change at all. I just think that the Western media is trying to project that. You know what I'm saying? But if you just look towards Halo, one of the most successful first person shooter multiplayer games in history, Xbox's most successful franchise, Xbox's number one franchise, to where you see Master Chief, you see a Halo logo. I mean, you see a Xbox logo in the same breath, just like you hear Mario's name, you think Nintendo. Play Master Chief is more of a mascot to Xbox than anything PlayStation has, right? You can't really name a character other than probably Kratos, but even he has competition with Nathan, who has competition with fucking Crash Bandicoot. They don't even own it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, when you think Halo, you know that's the god of Xbox. And they went full multiplayer, and look at how bad it turned out. You know, you're only gonna have so many of your influencers lie to their people and hope that it gets them success. The only thing an influencer is going to be able to do is draw attention. But if you can't keep that attention and keep these people away from the heavy hitters in the multiplayer world, your influencers ain't going to really do shit for you. You know what I'm saying? It's really not going to happen. Those same influencers, if they like multiplayer games or game at all, would be on a better, more established, more active multiplayer experience. Battlefield fell for the same thing as well, trying to go the service route, and they are failing at it. Call of Duty has succeeded, but it's always been that type of game to where it's low key services ever since they tried to charge niggas $5 for a red dot site. So a lot of people want to go multiplayer. You're right. It's making a whole lot of money, but that money is very hard to attain in comparison to games with single player slash multiplayer in it, or multiplayer, I mean, single player focus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Build your games at a
listen,
quality and be safer.
you said 2/3 of the revenue was from live service, but I mean, if you put it
It's
in
a
a different
projection.
perspective, one
It's a
third of the
projection.
projection. All right, if you put it in a different perspective, that 1/3 alone is more than all of movies and TV combined. So that's the revenue is still more than
Oh yeah,
movies
it
and
is.
TVs
But
combined. So there's a space for everything. There's enough for everything. It
yeah,
all exists.
and then when you say multiplayer revenue, you're looking at you're including, like, you got games that take up the majority of that revenue, right? Like, it's like, oh, I see that, oh, that money's there, people spending this money, but they're spending that money on like 3 or 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, the majority of multiplayer money is coming from 3, 4, maybe 5 fucking games. Whereas you got single player, you got all these other games, and they're all in competition, but they can all kind of make their money back and make some money, to where you have these mega hit giants that just have nonstop revenue coming in from these people because they just don't want to leave that shit behind. They've been working on this shit for years. The longer that you are dedicated to a multiplayer game, the more harder it's going to be for you to leave. Period. And is your game good enough to make niggas leave? Because Halo wasn't good enough. I have doubts that The Last of Us, when it comes out, massive multiplayer and all that shit, I doubt that it's going to be good enough. To be honest, because it's a whole different marketing, bro. It's not even about quality with them. It's about ease of use and fun. That is it. Halo tried to go to ease for use, but they missed out on the fucking fun part. They just had stability. They had quality controls, but had nothing to give, or didn't even know how to make a system for a massive multiplayer game like a Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? They got them. You see the 4 player multiplayer for Halo? The single player, they're all Master Chief. Nigga, like, hey Master Chief. Like, nigga, like, it just, I don't know, man. I think it's all broken. I think people have no idea what they're doing. They just see the money, they see that number that you just said, and they want to grab it, but don't know how. And that's where we're
I
at.
th- and I will say this. I will definitely say that, people knee jerk to a lot of things, and I feel like, I mean, I don't worship or praise fucking executives, but I will say that Jim Ryan's a smart fucking man. And as mad as people will get about this dude, he clearly understands something because you're looking at the PS5 is doing what it's doing. You're looking at the games. Fucking a CGI trailer of fucking God of War that was what for 30 seconds is at 2 fucking million views.
Mm-hmm.
They already know that they got a fucking state of play and they're building up the fucking. I already told you this Sony company is foreplaying the fuck out of you, yo. They tickling the taint, they're rubbing the fucking nipples, they're getting shit going, and then they just go ham. That's what they doing.
Yeah. I believe they're making a God of War VR. And I think that that's what's holding back the whole announcement. That's why they put out this shit like, here's the fucking date. And I think VR2, because VR2 is supposed to come out this year and no date. So I think there's a combination with the two there. I think that they're gonna have Horizon, a Ghost of Tsushima, God. They're gonna go hard with their big AAA games on this VR2. And I think this is my thought. I'm not saying I heard something, nigga. I'm not a fucking specialist. I'm just saying my thought is that VR. Imagine throwing the fucking axe and calling that shit back in VR, dog. I'm saying like just it could be an easy ass on rails, whatever the fuck, but you can literally, or it could be Atreus Adventures and then fucking shooting arrows, whatever the fuck, right? But I think that that's what's the problem. I think that's something that's holding it back. Is there? I think there is a VR version of this shit, and they want to announce both of them. Well, they already announced it, but they don't have a date for it. I think they wanted to announce both of them at the same time, but I think the VR version of the game is holding it back.
Yeah, yo, I low key think if a God of War VR game came out, a lot of
I'm sorry.
people
You said.
would
I'm sorry. Did you say you low key or low key?
low key. I think that
Stupid.
if a God of War VR game came out, people would be in the mental hospital, bro. You see all them crazy combos and Kratos is spinning all the time. They'll be in the hospital.
No,
VR.
well, no. That's why Horizon looks the way that it looks. The fucking whatever called a while, whatever the fuck they call it. It's a different type of game, but like you said, like Atreus uses arrows and shit like that. So there's that. Uh, I do. Who knows what's going to happen? But I feel like what they're doing is very interesting because it's like damn well people was waiting for a fucking state of play, yo. You release a CGI trailer, but you
Yeah,
almost never fucking do.
yeah.
You never
I
do
mean,
that shit.
me and Draco was talking about it too, man. We were saying like it's fucking weird because they've never. I mean, how do you give Deathloop more like push behind it and marketing than God of War? Like I'm telling you, there's got to be something wrong, and I don't think there's something wrong with the game. I think there's something wrong with what else they want to show. You know what I'm saying? And I think they just threw this date out there because something is holding it back, and they got tired of people thinking that it's getting delayed and yada yada. So they just put out this quick ass 30-second fucking cinema trailer and said, "Here's the date. Suck my dick." You know what I'm saying? Like that's
They got
basically what
they
they
got
did.
they got they got tired of all them little raggedy ass
Yeah,
dick pics. That's what happened, and they
yeah.
were
I
like, "Well,
mean,
fuck
it
it."
is what
No,
it
but
is.
like I feel like what I believe is going on is one of two things: either they had a troubled development cycle, or God of War Ragnarok is way bigger. I was thinking about this shit too, right? Because in the original God of War 2018, they had loading screens for the realms, right? So when you go into like the realm between, you had to run in circles until the PS4 loaded the area, right? And they'll have like dialogue and shit like that. I truly believe that God of War Ragnarok is an open world game. It's open, more is an open game. And the reason why I believe that is because it alleviates a lot of the pressure of the loading. So we already know that the PS5 has the SSD with really quick loading. But if they
Mm,
can just load the level first, and then you be able to go through different realms or whatever the case is, then they can circumvent the game design. You know what I'm saying? Of having like that, of the SSD or relying on the SSD. So when they looked over the cliff, you saw like that whole fucking area. I don't think that was just window dressing. I think that's however way they're going to do it. I think it's a lot bigger than what it is, or it could truthfully be in trouble. I don't think it's the latter too much, but based off
yeah,
of what people are saying, I feel like it's a lot bigger and functionally something's different about this game that they're not
yeah,
showing.
yeah. I think that that could be. It's a whole lot to that too. I think it's a whole lot. going on. I mean, they still haven't sold Argo Boda. They only sold like one little piece. That's like that. Like we really don't know what the fuck. We really haven't gotten shit. They giving us gameplay. Our Xbox fans said, "Oh, where's the cry about gameplay?" Shut the fuck up. We had gameplay for about a year now. Shut the fuck up, nigga. It's more of like this isn't how Sony does it with their big games. This just isn't how it's ever been done. To where
They
it's like
pivoted.
just
They
dropping
pivoted.
shit.
This is
You know,
not.
like
This ain't the same. This is a
it's insane.
crazy fucking pivot.
Yeah, why even have a state of play? You are in full control of state of play. It's like E3, it's where you got to do at this certain date, at this certain time. You have full control over state of play. Why not do a state of play and then have, why not the last state of play they had, what, 4 weeks ago? Put this fucking trailer in there at the end of that motherfucker and say, okay, there's your day. What? There is something going on. I don't know if it's with the game. I think it's VR. I think that they just want to have a big show um dedicated to God of War, which they more than likely would, or they just want to have. There's something going on. There's something that's disturbed their little way of doing things. Clearly,
Yeah, this is
because this
not. This
trailer was
ain't the
weird.
same thing.
It was
I
weird.
was
It
like,
was a beautiful
I woke up
trailer,
this
but it was
morning.
weird.
I woke up this morning. They was talking about the box set. I was like, okay, where's the fucking? I was like, maybe I missed something. I was brushing my teeth. I started brushing that shit slow. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Left that toothbrush dangling, and I start going in. Where the trailer? And then the trailer came out for like 30 seconds. It was like introducing a new CGI trailer. I was like, what the fuck did Sony start doing CGI trailers? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like to announce their fucking games. Usually, when a game has already been released, they'll have like a quick like CGI trailer. This is inverted because Horizon did it too. You remember she backflipped over what do you call it? The fucking
That
Sunwing.
was a TV spot. So
That
it was
was
a
that
commercial about the launch
right.
of the
That's
game.
so. This is like for the launch of the game. But where the fuck is the gameplay?
I'm saying
So something happened. There's a
something went wrong.
disturbance in the fucking forest right now. There's a disturbance in the air that caused them to do it. I think they are prepping for a massive fucking show. Nigga, Stray got a fucking state of play.
Yeah, I'm saying straight. Like I said, Deathloop was on like 6 fucking state of plays, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you don't. I mean, Horizon got shown. I don't know how many times. We were tired of seeing Ratchet and Clank, my nigga. Tired of seeing Ratchet and
And
Clank.
people was like, it looks good,
You
but
know?
like shit, where the fuck is everything else? And okay, this game is it though. They doing something, yo. And like I
There's
love it.
something going on.
I'm here for it
Yo,
because
last
Yeah,
year they announced the showcase 3 weeks before in September, right? So
right.
they could low key just announce it in like 2 months, and they got a whole show.
Well, they're going to do something, but I'm here for it because we're so used to fucking, especially Thrash and we be up on it. We be seeing
Mm-hmm.
things before shit be popping up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The whole round table that everybody that prepares for it, and myself and what I do here, we are gamers, so we kind of understand the trajectory. So
Mm-hmm.
that threw me the fuck off, and I'm here for it because I'm tired of fucking guessing right. I'm sick of this
Right.
shit
Yeah, real shit. Niggas been guessing right for a little bit too long. If
for
it
a
ain't
little
me,
bit
it's
too long.
you, it's not you, it's Draco, it's Sick, it's even Tron has some shit that she
Fucking
had guessed right.
Jason Schreier, the fucking snitch. Everybody just been on point, yo. And then all of a sudden, the snitch got it wrong.
Oh,
Jason
hey,
Schreier
you want
got
me to
it
tell you about the snitch?
wrong.
Hey, I think well, I don't know who the snitch is, but I narrowed down the snitch, dog. Like
Who
all
you
the
think it
way.
is?
He's a Japanese, most likely trademark guy or lawyer, but on the Japanese side. I say that because if you look at everything that this man has leaked, it has always been a Japanese company. Right? He leaked the entirety of Sony shit. Then he leaked Square Enix's shit. Then he leaked Pac-Man, which is a Namco game. Like I believe that this guy is really an Asian dude, and he got that white dude on there to kind of throw it off. The snitch using American lingo. But I believe this nigga is Japanese as fuck, and
So
he is in
you're
the
basically
game.
saying that the snitch is Akira.
Is well something like that, yeah. Well, the snitch never said what he was, but he's covering his tracks.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know what
Since
sorry,
I'm
it's
saying?
bro.
And if you think about
Japanese,
it, he's
one in a
only
I'm
hundred
sorry. I'm sorry.
million.
snitched on Japanese companies. So he's not part of PlayStation. I don't believe he's part of
No,
PlayStation.
somebody said that too. I heard this theory too, that this motherfucker either he could see what people upload on YouTube
No, that's not it either.
and put it private. I'm just saying, just a lot of
Yeah.
different. He's not a part of what's clear is that he's not a part of Sony.
Yeah, he's
That's
not
what's
part of
clear.
Sony. He's not a part of any console. I think he's like
And,
a lawyer that handles
and,
the trademarks or a lawyer that handles like all the legal shit they got to do to even stream somebody's shit or post somebody's shit. I mean, the guy knew about Square Enix's show and what they were going to show and what consoles they were going to. Right? Every time he knows what console they're going to. Like he called Crisis Core and he called them going to all the consoles, right? So it's like, okay, how would he know that?
I
You know,
mean, if he's
Square
a
Enix is owned by Sony,
yeah,
so
but if he's
so
a lawyer, bro,
he
how is he
doesn't work.
gonna fuck up his whole bag for some likes on Twitter, bro? That's fucking
No,
stupid.
like I
yo,
said, I don't think
I don't
I
no,
sweat
think
that.
you
he
can see
knows. He's not gonna fuck his bag up because he doesn't work for any of these companies.
I mean,
that's
he's
number
a
He,
one.
trademark lawyer.
he's getting
Shit,
his
bro, make
hands
something.
on
Number
legal
one,
information, bro. He's getting his hands on like trademark information to know what
and
console it is and what games it is.
he's not really saying he all he knows is release dates and game titles. He don't know anything about these games. So is whatever it is, it has something to do with either the trademarks or whatever. Because he's
Yeah,
not
it has
saying
to be
that,
some kind
oh,
of legal thing.
right, it's some
Yeah,
kind of legal thing. So he's not saying that, oh, God of War is going to be delayed because of
right.
a glitch or whatever. He just knows, and it's funny. I mean, you got to understand this too. We're in a world where we have what was it? Where is Family Guy? Where does Family Guy take place?
Rhode
Rhode
Island.
Island, right?
Rhode Island. The fucking state judge was caught on a fucking TikTok upside down twerking for fucking
Twerking,
views.
yeah.
Don't get this shit misconstrued. People will do a lot of fucking things for fucking clout. So you asking that question, why would he fuck up his bag? I mean, we
Yeah,
have a
real
fucking
shit.
legal bitch
On God,
upside down
the
twerking.
internet, man, it's fuck people up, man. Anything
Yeah,
And
for
she
likes,
came and
man.
she
ruined
went
society,
online
dog.
was like, I'm sorry, boo boo. I said, what kind of ratchety shit is this? Aren't you supposed to be
Hey,
a fucking a
hey,
judge?
I'm voting for that
Exactly.
bitch. Fuck that. I
You
am
better
voting
not,
for that bitch.
you better
Uh,
not that shit,
why?
yo. No,
Hey,
no.
we had people voting for Trump. We had Trump as a goddamn. I want every ratchet
No,
motherfucker.
That sends
we
the wrong
wanna put
message, my
people
guy.
out here that is good for the fucking job. We don't want to just
Hey,
throw
she might
anybody
be
else
good.
out there.
She might be good at her job. She could just work.
She may be scornful, man, and then get dick and just be like, you know what? Fuck you, nigga. Your ass is death penalty. Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of it. This
Like,
nigga's
you know
like,
what I mean? I'm just saying, we want to get somebody that's. I don't want no bitch twerking upside down in my
hey,
legal system, and nor do I want to
I
fucking
didn't want the guy who
Proud
accused people
Boys.
calling people rapists and shit either, dog.
I don't want no Proud Boys. I don't want none of this shit. I want somebody that's good for the fucking job, and that's all it is. I don't need you to look like me. I just need you to do it right. I
No,
am
you know what it
done.
is. Look, I say it the right way because you evil. So I'm gonna say it the right way without the evil. All right. Look, she might be able to do her job perfectly. She might be able to do her job 100,000%. But clearly, her maturity level is too low for her position. That's the way you say it. She's too immature. If you feel like going on fucking camera and upside down is going to get you vote, you are one immature motherfucker who is not taking a job that is in control of thousands, if not millions, of people, and their livelihood, states, taxes, and all that good shit. I'm gonna
This
need you to
bitch,
take your
yo,
fucking job more seriously and be more mature about the fucking shit.
because
That's
it
my
is.
problem.
People was like, oh, she's off, or she was off on a weekend. You can't do that shit ever in that
Yeah.
position.
You gotta be
You got
professional. I said the same thing. I said the same thing
on
about Trump, dog. You gotta be
like you
professional. I
can't
don't
be
give a fuck.
tweeting. Turn your shit off.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been that big. You wouldn't have been that bad if you just would have shut the fuck up. Because we all know that shit behind closed doors. I guarantee you, our current presidents like that nigga and all this other shit. I'm telling you, these just don't let them face fool you. And don't let yo. I'm just saying. People will do anything. You're going back on topic. People will
Yeah,
do anything for fucking clout.
yeah,
That's just what it is. So it doesn't surprise me that if it would affect his livelihood, he would do it just to do it because he wants that dopamine hit to see all those likes and all
Oh
those people
God.
and all the engagement. So whatever he is, he sees legal shit, legal papers, whatever it is, he sees it. That's for sure. We got that much. I just wonder what the fuck. I'm so curious. I'm curious. It's
Do
strange to
y'all not
me.
like the leaks? Do y'all like the surprises, or do you guys like the leaks?
No, I don't like me personally. I don't like leaks. I think that's what ruined E3. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But people like leaks. You know, people like to hear shit. These companies know people like leak, and so they leak shit
They
purposely
on
as
their
well.
own. I
Yeah.
feel like
So
they could just sprinkle a little bit, leave a little bit of breadcrumbs to talk about it, but these
mhm.
motherfuckers just spread their legs.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
here it is. Come
yeah,
on, bro. Like I don't need obviously I try to do content. I do content creation. So obviously it's good for me to try to but you don't want to just give it all the fuck
yeah,
out.
no,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Because
It takes
I
away the
mean, you lose the
surprise.
surprise. Yeah, that's one of the best things about the E3s and the game shows and the award shows is the surprise of seeing something that you didn't expect to see a game that like just surprised you out the gate. That that right there, like I mean, if you're taking away the surprise when you watch it, you're just going to be watching what you already knew was coming, and
Yeah,
it's going to take away from your own experience.
it's confirmation. When I
Yeah.
first saw, and everybody should know off rip that I'm a massive fan of Horizon. Right? When I first saw Horizon, nobody knew what the fuck it was. They was like, "What the fuck is this?" They said, "Guerrilla Games. What is this?" I heard about leaks about some robot dinosaurs, but we didn't know what it looked like. And then
Hmm.
she starts sliding down a fucking snow hill and start fighting the
Yeah.
T Rex. We was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And
Bitch
even God
tried
of
to arrow
War.
into the she tried to hit the T-Rex in the balls and shit. I was like, oh, this bitch is wild. Like, what is going on? And she was talking like, okay, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, you know what I'm saying? They taking quips from, like Uncharted. I like this. You know what I'm saying? But it was but
I would have never.
the
I didn't even know what it was.
that had to be one of the most unique concepts if you think about it though. A post-apocalyptic um robot dinosaur being chased down by some ginger bitch that is a clone
Ginger
with a bow and
native
arrow.
future tribal
You know what I'm saying? Like
tribalistic
Yeah,
it
I was
just
like, "What is
future
happening
concept.
that's just
That's
a
here?"
cool.
crazy, creative, unique concept to come up with. You know what I'm
And
saying? And
then
we need more of that.
and then God of War. We didn't know. We heard rumors
Mm-hmm.
that it was coming, and
Yep.
it was planned out so purpose. It was just perfect. We heard boy. We was like, "Oh, who the fuck is this?" And then when he said feed us and threw that shit and walked from the fucking silhouette, people lost their mother. We will never get that shit again with all these leaks. Never, never get that shit again.
Mm-mm.
That's why it's not
Yeah.
good. Like it's nice to have like little breadcrumbs and shit like that, but with great power comes great responsibility. Shut the fuck up, leakers. Shut up.
Well, no, well, all you gotta do is what I do. I just mute motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like that's it.
I
That's all.
mean, because
Yeah, mute the fuck
you
out of
never
niggas.
know. You never know. I was playing. I shut off. I wasn't on Twitter for like Forbidden West and shit like that. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing spoilers on YouTube. I didn't search for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, big
Like what?
facts. You will see
You know
on
what I'm
YouTube.
saying? Like people was
Yeah.
naming shit different names on YouTube. That's why. Like, come on. Like every time a game comes out that I want, people are going to try to ruin it. Like
Yeah.
with great power comes great responsibility. Like
I felt,
really, like
yeah, I felt like I was robbed on The Last of Us too. Even though I know you hate it, I feel like I was robbed of the shock value of Joe getting killed. How he got killed on top of that,
that fucked up the
because
whole
you had a
mood.
whole lot of YouTubers who was making their thumbnails the spoiler, dog. I'm like, to me, that's not like to me. I think that's the most disrespectful shit you can do to gamers. Fuck the fucking developers. Like that's the most to put it as your
Oh God.
thumbnail. You should be banned for that.
They were
You know what I'm
making their
saying?
whole
Like real
yearly
shit.
salary
Like
off
your
Last of Us
thumbnail. Like
too.
that means if I'm just scrolling through YouTube and I see your fucking thumbnail and then I see your title, I know exactly what the fuck happened, how it happened. Like to me, that's just the biggest disrespect. Because what if I want to enjoy the game? Fuck that you don't want to enjoy. Like what if I want to enjoy the game and be shocked by the shit? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just so horrible, bro. To where I blocked, I don't know how many people on YouTube, dog. Like, I want to saw the shit out of Griffin Game. I think his dumb ass did that shit. Tanga
Did that
gay ass
shit.
did that shit. A lot of them fake ass PC niggas did that shit. It's like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all niggas are not gamers. That is not gamer. Like, you can give this news and you can get it to your people, but real YouTubers, whatever they fucking they want to call themselves, would tell you that spoiler warning. When you watch fucking Angry Joe, he does a section where he talks about it and a section that is spoiler, and he'll let you know, look, this part right here, we're about to get into spoilers. Stop watching, like, because that's important, bro. Like, you take away the whole, you take away something really big for this experience, and the last thing you want to do is take away the experience from somebody, bro. That's just fucking pussy shit for likes or clout or views. Like, you can't even come up with a clickbait article, my nigga. Like, to where you have to, man, I swear, bro. My bad, man. I'm going on a tangent.
No,
on these bitch ass niggas.
that shit
My
pissed me
head
off.
hurt too much.
That shit pissed me off. I was like, look at this motherfucker.
Like, why?
I'm like,
The
why?
asshole who released the footage itself is already in violation, my nigga. Like, what are you
You know
doing?
that, yo. You know that motherfucker was, and that was an inside job. I don't give a fuck with no
Yeah,
inside job.
They was mad because Joe got killed
Man.
by a buff chick. So what? It's a video game. So what? Damn, Jesus Christ.
I may have felt a different way, but I didn't know about it. And I can't believe some people were like, "Oh, I escaped all the spoilers." How the fuck you do that?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Like
You
you
must
just
sat
didn't
at
go on
home,
nothing.
man.
You just
I don't
do
know.
nothing. You didn't do
He was
nothing
just
at all.
playing
That's
video
what you
games.
did.
He wasn't doing no social media shit. That's what it was.
I was like, come on, bro. Like, how the fuck people that didn't even know about the game fucking telling me? I was at a fucking Acme supermarket and was just walking and shit like that. I think I was picking up some fucking Starburst. Motherfucker in the line. Excuse me, sir. Did you hear about Joel Miller? I was like, what the fuck? No, I didn't
So stupid. Joel Miller. Shut the fuck up.
Did you hear?
No, man. It's just, that's why I better do these spaces, man. Like, or any of this shit, because I notice there's a lot of niggas in this shit, man, that just, they only want to be heard, bro. They only want attention, dog. It's a lot of them Xbox niggas, man.
Just twerking for fucking attention out there, man. It's really that, man. I don't know,
worse than
man.
that senator you was talking about, dog.
Yo, bro. I just twerking. This is what my mom. I'll say this and I close this shit out. So I told you earlier in the podcast, my mom was raw. She ain't what she used to be anymore. She ain't as raw as she used to be. But I remember one of my sisters snuck out the house, and she caught her. She was doing something, and she was leaving out in the middle of the night. Not middle of the night. It was like 10 o'clock. And she caught the motherfucker talking to the boys. She was like, "Get your ass home." So anyway, she gathered everybody there. She was like, "I have to do all this shit. Y'all already know I had y'all motherfuckers early. While you out there dancing for dicks." I said, well, that's what these motherfucker people are doing. Y'all dancing for clicks. Come on, man. Stop. Motherfuckers outside dancing for clicks. This is ridiculous, man. I feel like social media has fucked everything up, yo. Especially at motherfucking TikTok, man. Get that shit.
Yo,
that
listen,
TikTok.
I like how you have that memory of your grandma, bro. That's pretty cool. That's a good memory.
That's just ridiculous. She was so angry, yo. Oh man, she couldn't believe it. The same thing what she did for me, yo. I'm trying to be all proper, I went at my white friend's house and shit like that. I was like, I want to make sure that they don't think I'm a nigga. You know what I mean? That I'm uncouth and shit. I got napkins, so I go over there and I'm all proper and shit. Excuse me, ma'am. May I use the lavatory? You know what I mean? So I was talking like that shit. And they invited me for dinner. Now, remember, I was a poor nigga, like really fucking poor. Like poor. We didn't have carpet. You wouldn't know what the fuck we had. That little fucking squishy mat that's under carpet that make it softer, that's all we had for fucking carpet. That was it. That posturepedic looking shit, whatever it is. That cork that they put under there. So we were poor. I had to share my fucking free lunch with my 6 sisters. Shit like that. Fucking catch rainwater to flush the toilet tape pour. That's how bad it was. Right.
So we started,
in buckets. So when we got a little bit better than what we were, They invited me for dinner, right? And I was like, "Excuse me, mademoiselle, do you have a handkerchief so I can not drop the crumbs from the delectable food you gave me?" So she gave me a fucking napkin. I laid that shit on my fucking lap. You know, I got some big ass nigga lips and shit like that. So they had some kind of greasy ass food. I like the corners of my lips and shit, act like I was proper. And my mom called because I was supposed to come home or check in every 2 hours. That's how I was. And she was like, "Well, where is he at?" And she was like, "Oh," she was like, "He's washing the dishes. He's so he's so well mannered. You raised a great son." She was like, "Okay. Well, after he's done doing the dishes, could you tell him that I need him for something?" So she was like, "Josh, your mom called. She said she needs you for something." So I was like, "Oh fuck, I already know what this shit is." So I was like, "She's lying." So I get my shit. I get ready to go home. She fucking, as soon as I opened the door, she was like, "Look at this nickel." I said, what did I do now?" She was like, "You did all that shit impressing these fucking white people." I was like, "I was just trying to make everything look good so we don't look uncouth and shit." She was like, "At least Judas sold Jesus." That's what she said. She said, "At least Judas sold Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver." She said, "You sold your whole family out for a fucking biscuit. Get the fuck in your room." Yo, I was fucking done. That's how she was. Like I said, she was hardcore. She was hardcore. Too hardcore, yeah. None of y'all niggas could really deal with that shit. Because she was too much. But that's why I don't have any kind of filter. And that's why this is called No Filter. Anyway, um, so we're done here and shit like that. I need to get some food and start my gaming night. But thank you guys for showing up, Thrash, Inner Cheat Code, Wes, all y'all motherfuckers, y'all. I appreciate you.
Man.
All right, dog.